Good morning from beautiful Vancouver, Washington, where you can see we got a little bit of snow last night. Very little bit. We charged at a Tesla charging station, and at some point in the middle of the night the charge failed. You might see the red light on our charging port. So we're going to unplug, pack the car, head off for Starbucks.
So here we go on a somewhat frosty morning, leaving Vancouver.
After a dusting of snow last night, which surprised us.
And Anderson says, oh, this reminds me of the old country. Who knows whether he says that or not.
Which old country is that?
That's right, Scotland or Germany. Well, both.
Good morning, Portland.
Good morning, Portland. Here we are, and I guess we're in Oregon. That means
We are now in Oregon. We didn't make a fuss, but we are officially in Oregon, and tonight we'll be sleeping in California.
Very nice.
So we had a reasonably nice stay at the Keithman Lodge in Vancouver, Washington. There was a party going on in the lobby, and a number of inebriated smoking types were not wearing masks.
Yeah, nobody was masked. And the people picking up the party goers were not masked either. It was a maskless situation. I went into the lobby with all the luggage, or rather Larry got me in, and then I stood there and went, nope, and walked outside. And then the crowd of drunken kids followed me, so I tried to get as far away from them as possible and wait for Larry to come so we could check in.
So we are driving through Portland, heading to Eugene to have lunch with our friend Melissa Hart. Try to get a little bit of writing advice.
Yeah, she's an incredible memoirist and novelist and a wonderful teacher. And the descendant of vaudevillians, so she's very, very entertaining.
Arrive at your destination.
So good morning from the Electrify America charging station in Albany, Oregon. Normally I would film our charging session outside, but we've had such steady rain.
Yes, the weather is so glorious that really we can't bear to be outside for such a long time. It's just unfair.
This is our third disappointing charging station in a row. 55 kilowatt top charge, which is about half of what the car should accept. We think it's the cold weather doing this. We're in the mid 30s. We're hoping to do better than this when we head further south and the weather gets warmer. And Stephanie says I have to look at the camera. But where is the camera?
There it is.
Let's talk about driving an electric car in the winter. All cars are less efficient in cold weather, but gasoline-powered cars have an advantage. They can use the heat they waste burning gasoline to warm the car's cabin. Electric vehicles generate very little waste heat, so some of an EV's range is lost in winter, as the EV must use battery power to keep the passengers warm. There's also the question of the battery itself. Any battery requires a chemical process to generate electricity, and the chemical process is slowed at low temperatures. So, EV batteries perform worse and charge more slowly when they're cold. Cars like the ID.4 both warm and cool their batteries to keep them operating at their best. But these warming and cooling systems consume energy and reduce an EV's range. Ideally, an EV should use as little energy as possible, keeping its battery at an ideal temperature, so as to reserve as much energy as possible to power the car. For this reason, the ID.4 won't always heat up its battery in winter to the best temperature required for fastest charging. This is probably the reason we're seeing charging speeds so far, but they're about half of what we saw when we drove the same route in September. Some folks use the term cold gating to refer to when an EV's battery performance is limited by cold weather. Volkswagen has promised to deliver a software update to the ID.4 that will allow for faster charging in the winter. But for now, we'll have to live with a degree of cold gating that's going to slow us down a bit compared to the performance we got used to in warmer weather. We are coming into Sutherland for our charging stop.
Use the right lane to take exit 136 onto Oregon Route 138 west towards Sutherland.
And our charger's right by the Dairy Queen. We've been there before.
We have indeed.
Arrived.
Four.
It is number 4. Yeah. So we have somewhat of a slow charge going here, but it's working. And it stopped raining, so that's exciting.
The weather's warmed up to the mid 40 degrees, and we drove pretty fast here. As fast as I dared, a little over 70 miles an hour, which may have warmed the battery up. So we're getting about 75, 80 kilowatts, which again is not what we want, but at least it's faster than the 50 kilowatts or so that we've been getting before then.
So in Kyle's honor, we decided to get some strawberry acais, but guess what? They are sold out, and that must be Kyle's influence. So we had to settle for mango, dragon fruit, and kiwi something, and I've tasted both. They're both pretty good. The strawberry acai is absolutely the best, but I would say my second favorite is the kiwi.
charging the ID4 in Grants Pass. Again, a kind of a mediocre experience. Got over 70 kilowatts to start. It's now dripped down past a little less than 60, which is not terrible at a 68% state of charge, but we came in at 40. Could have gotten 100 at least. So we've got 4 chargers at the station. This one is unavailable. These 2 are actually set up for complimentary sessions because they are bricked and can't do more than 50 kilowatts. So we have 1 fully functioning charger here at Grants Pass, which is the only charging station between 20 miles into the California border and just outside of Eugene. Grants Pass continues to be a weird experience for us. The last time we were here, we were harassed by young white guys in pickup truck.
With a big flag? With
a big flag while we were trying to charge. This time the charging experience wasn't terrible, but we drove to a Subway. I'm halfway through ordering my sandwich and there's a guy behind the counter working for Subway with his mask pulled down over his nose. They now have a half-made foot-long tuna sub that they're going to have to figure out what to do with, because I explained myself and left without paying.
Yeah, you said, "I'm sorry, I can't stay here," and walked out, which was absolutely the right thing to do. And you may have to do it again. But it's very frustrating.
It is very frustrating. This is why we can't have nice things.
Yeah.
We are giving vaccine away for free, and people can't, even people who are preparing food, can't take the simplest safety public health precautions.
Yeah, frankly, people should be wearing face masks anyway when they prepare food. I mean, period.
Ranting and raving as we drive towards Hiauchi and the California border for our stop for tonight.
Yeah.